woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Woke up this morning with my mind. Yeah. Stayed on freedom. Well, I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Hallelujah. 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 Well, okay.
Hallelujah.
Wow. Whoa.
Did you wake up this morning with your mind stayed on freedom? That was an ambivalent answer at best. I certainly woke up with my mind stayed on freedom on Tuesday morning. There we go. We woke up on Tuesday morning with our minds stayed on freedom. On Monday night, I went to an evangelical church. All right. For a presentation on immigration. And I heard these words: form a human chain, in the following story. A powerful rip current had pulled 10 people, a family and 4 other swimmers who were trying to help them, far out to sea. The current at this Florida beach was strong, too strong, so they couldn't get back to shore. So they were yelling for help, but no one else was noticing. Then someone shouted, "Form a human chain!" By the time people on the beach noticed, you see, they realized they couldn't swim out to save them because of the current. And there were 8 and 11-year-old children out there. 5 people started the chain, which wasn't nearly enough. But soon there were 15. And then dozens of people were stretching out into the ocean. Some couldn't even swim themselves, but they were hanging on to others by their wrists and their arms. Until finally, a human chain of about 80 people made it out to the struggling swimmers and passed the swimmers one by one along the lengths of the chain, moving them safely back to shore. When they were done, the people walked out of the water. Women and men of different ages, different religions, different ethnicities from different parts of the country. Just people working together to help each other. None of them, those needing saving or those seeking to save, could have done what they did alone. Every link was necessary, was needed. Now, I can only wonder how the people present and listening on Monday night at Church of the Redeemer voted. But I know how grateful I am for their pastor's courage in sharing a controversial message about our responsibility to welcome strangers, the refugees, asylum seekers, and immigrants among us, to their evangelical congregants who overwhelmingly vote conservatively. There is no escaping the message in the Hebrew and Christian scriptures. Each panelist affirmed, one after the other. Welcome the stranger, for you were once strangers in Egypt. Whatever you do unto the least of these, you do unto me. Even the creation story in Genesis makes it clear that we are one human family. God makes creeping creatures of every kind, and wild birds of every kind, and wild beasts of every kind, so that by the time it gets to creating human beings, it would be reasonable to expect that he would make human beings of every kind. Except there only is one kind. And it's not a king or queen who was created in God's image, as it would have been in any other ancient Near Eastern society, but an ordinary man and woman. We are all created equal. Or, as Unitarian minister and abolitionist Theodore Parker put it, democracy means not, I am as good as you are, but you are as good as I am. This describes the soul of our democracy. No one is better than anyone else. No one has more value than anyone else. No one is meant to rule over anyone else. I am as good as you are, and you are as good as I am. The words demonstrate how democracy is a powerful, if imperfect, and evolving expression and embodiment of the idea that human rights are natural rights, and that each and every individual has a right to life, to freedom, and to participation in political leadership. The list of firsts from this past Tuesday's election was in many ways an expression of our nation's egalitarian soul. I am grateful to be alive when, for the first time in our country's history, our House of Representatives will have over 100 women. I am grateful to be alive when the first 2 Native American women ever were elected to Congress. When the first 2 Muslim women ever were elected to Congress. When the first Democratic woman was elected to the Oklahoma legislature. When the first 2 African American women to represent Massachusetts and Connecticut were elected. You're going to get... You might get tired of clapping. There's a lot to celebrate this morning. When the first Somali American woman was elected to Congress, the youngest woman ever was elected to Congress, the first openly gay governor was elected, and the first female governors were elected in Maine and South Dakota. It was the Unitarian minister, Theodore Parker, who first defined democracy as government of all the people, by all the people, and for all the people. William Herndon, a young lawyer who also lived in the mid-19th century, used to read all of Parker's sermons and speeches. And he often shared them with a senior partner in his Illinois law firm, a man whose name was Abraham Lincoln. It was Herndon who passed on to his partner the speech Parker made to the New England Anti-Slavery Society in 1850, with the following passage underlined. A passage which includes those famous words later immortalized in Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. There is what I call the American idea, Parker said. I so name it because it seems to me to lie at the basis of all our truly original, distinctive, and American institutions. It is itself a complex idea, composed of 3 subordinate and more simple ideas, namely, the idea that all men have unalienable rights, that in respect thereof all men are created equal, and that government is to be established and sustained for the purpose of giving every man an opportunity for the enjoyment and development of all these unalienable rights. This idea demands as the proximate organization thereof a democracy. That is, a government of all the people, by all the people, for all the people. Of course, a government after the principles of eternal justice, the unchanging law of God. For shortness' sake, I will call it the idea of freedom. This short excerpt is our most celebrated definition of democracy. Written by a Unitarian minister, it need not surprise us then that it begins with a religious claim that we are all created equal, equal in worth and in dignity. That idea was central to Parker's Unitarian faith, just as our own experiences of being as good as, but no better than anyone else, are central to our own faith today. But Parker knew then, as we know today, that there are other competing ideas about governance. And he continued. That is one idea. And the other is that one man has a right to hold another man in thraldom, but for the master's convenience. This idea is not peculiarly American. It demands for its proximate organization an aristocracy. That is, a government of all the people, by a part of the people, for a part of the people, and against a part of the people. These two ideas are hostile, irreconcilably hostile, and can no more be compromised and made to coalesce in the life of this nation. Hitherto, the nation has not been clearly aware of the existence of these two adverse principles, or if aware of their existence, has thought little of their irreconcilable differences. At the present time, this fact is brought home to our consciousness with great clearness. A decade before our first Civil War, Parker clearly describes two different understandings of American governance: of, by, and for all the people, or of all the people, by part of the people, against another part of the people. As we grow more and more polarized as a nation in the 21st century, it becomes more and more difficult to know how to care for the soul of our democracy. Telling the truth is one way. Telling the truth builds trust, even when the truth is complicated. Many people don't know what to think when they meet Jose Antonio Vargas, who describes himself as a Filipino with a Spanish name living in the United States of America. He is a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and perhaps our country's most public, undocumented person. He tells this story in his first book, recently released, Dear America. At every challenging, complicated, and complicating juncture of my life, getting to college, getting a job, getting a driver's license so I could have proof of identification so I could get a job, keeping the job, a stranger who did not remain a stranger saved me. I use that word deliberately, he says, because that was what each of them did, even if they didn't know what they were doing. Saved. They saved me. After telling me that my green card was fake, the curly-haired, bespectacled woman at the DMV could have called immigration officials. After finding out that I was ineligible for financial aid because I don't have legal papers, the administrators, teachers, and parents at Mountain View High School didn't need to help me. I didn't even ask them for help because I didn't know how to. But they offered help, even when I didn't know what kind of help I needed, even when they didn't know what they were doing. After discovering that I was ineligible for a summer internship, the recruiter could have reported me to someone. After I confessed about the fake papers, the doctored social security card, the driver's license I wasn't supposed to have, the senior newsroom personnel at the Wall Street Journal could have dragged me to the Office of Human Resources and gotten me fired. I don't know for sure why they did what they did. But I know for sure that all American, all these strangers all across the country have allowed people like me to pass. If just 5 people, a friend, a coworker, a classmate, a neighbor, a faith leader, helped one of our estimated 11 million undocumented people in this country, then illegal immigration as we know it today would touch at least 66 million people. I think I know why these 66 million people are doing what they are doing, and why the people in Vargas's story did what they did. Because they were protecting the soul of America and their own souls. A human chain like the one Vargas describes was created by individuals making difficult moral choices in their day-to-day lives. It is a long chain with many links. It is a supremely American chain linked to the soul of this country because it is also linked to the consciences of individual classmates, coworkers, teachers, government employees, and journalists. Each link is individual, and each link is necessary. But this is not a sermon this morning about immigration or policy reform. This is a sermon about the theological and spiritual foundation of our democracy and the ways we may be called to preserve and protect the soul of our democracy today. Our faith teaches us that no one is worth more or less than anyone else. We know that all people deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. Inalienable rights mean that our democracy is more than a political system, that our democracy has a moral purpose. So what if the soul of our democracy depends less on our leaders and more on the trust we build with each other today? In totalitarian states, people don't trust each other at all. Not even the ones they love, not their neighbors or family members even. I know this because of the stories I've heard from my mother who lived in occupied France during World War II as a girl. Under totalitarian governments, allegiance to the state supersedes familial, community, and religious ties, demanding loyalty by force or threat of force. But true patriots put love of all their people first. If my Jewish family survived the Second World War, it is because ordinary people helped them hide. Ordinary people helped them find food, helped them escape, and helped them move from one part of France to another. And some of those who helped were collaborators, and some of those who helped were Germans. Powerful, human chains protected many Jews in France, which is why the percentage of French Jews who survived was 75%, one of the highest survival rates in Europe. We who believe in freedom, we who believe in government of all the people, by all the people, for all the people, need to stay connected to each other. We need to strengthen trust where it exists and build trust where it doesn't. Maybe first internally with ourselves. And then we need to reach out to each other, even when, or especially when, we are afraid of being swept out to sea or carried away by powerful currents beyond our control. Jose Antonio Vargas even suggests we need to refriend the people we've exiled from our Facebook pages. Neighbors, friends, and family, people from different churches, neighborhoods, traditions, and political persuasions. I'll be reaching out this week to some of my evangelical colleagues in Tulsa to discuss the work we might do together on local immigration challenges. One project is providing backpacks for the 10 to 20 people who are being deported from our local jail each and every week right now. Right now, they are sent away in the middle of the night, empty-handed. We plan to be there to shake their hands and to look them in their eye and send them off on their long journeys with at least the basics: a toothbrush, a bar of soap, some water, and dignity. I want to do this in part to protect and preserve my own humanity. To not be swept away by the powerful currents today that encourage indifference, apathy, hatred, and fear. What if the individuals who formed the links in the human chain in Vargas's life were motivated more by a desire to preserve their own humanity than by their desire to protect him? What if? That's okay. Because that's part of our work today, preserving and protecting our own and each other's humanity, and in the process, preserving and protecting the soul of our nation. America is a nation with a wounded soul and a strong spiritual center and moral core. We must not lose our own humanity by denying others there or by treating anyone unjustly. This is how we will protect, heal, and grow the soul of our nation. One link at a time, one human chain at a time. So I invite you, please, now to join hands, to hold on to each other as we link ourselves together in a powerful human chain. As we listen to an arrangement of Woody Guthrie's "This Land is Your Land. This land is my land." Thank you. Thank you.
This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream water. I'm telling you, this land was made for you and me.
you're visiting with us online today. We love connecting with people all across the country and around the world, sharing our powerful message of love beyond belief.
There's something new happening here. You can now join All Souls as a virtual member. Our virtual membership is designed for friends who live outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and who want to engage with All Souls in a meaningful way.
You can be part of an expanding family, a global family really, wherever you are. If you live in Oklahoma,
Ohio,
or Orange County, California,
Canada,
or Cameroon. By becoming a virtual member, you'll be able to deepen your connections with members and friends here in Tulsa and with members wherever you are.
Each week, you'll receive special All Souls content tailored for you, our virtual members. Virtual members have access to pastoral care, to personal prayers, and also receive invitations to exclusive web events.
You can learn more, and if you're ready, you can become a virtual member today by visiting allsoulschurch.org/virtual membership.
We're grateful our ministries are having a positive impact on your life, and we want to share the good news of love beyond belief with more and more people. So no matter what, we need your support to keep this ministry growing and thriving, so please consider making a gift today. You can do so by texting
Love BB for Love Beyond Belief to 73256 or simply visit our website. You are a blessing in our lives. May you be blessed.
and be a blessing.